All right, and we're off. Good morning. Welcome. Hey, good morning to Susie and Jim, who are right on top of it. Bam, right in the middle of the action, ready to rock and roll this fine Friday morning. TGIF, it is Friday. Congratulations. You made it through another week. That's right. Welcome to the Pondering Podcast and radio program. I am your host, Joel Rissinger. It is great to have you with us. Good morning to Leanne. Good morning to Linda, Jim, Susie. I don't know if I missed anybody, but you guys are awesome, and I'm so glad that you decided to join us today as we explore and ponder and consider and dive deep into multiple topics here on Free for All Friday, where there are no rules. Just right, mate. You can propose anything your little heart desires as a topic, as a verse, as a question, as a comment. It does not matter. Good morning to Jerry out there in Southern California, bright and early, before the sun has risen. Jerry says, good morning, PJ, and those about the semi-panicked fruited plane. Yes, so we'll talk about that today. Happy Friday, Linda says. Good morning. Fake news, Snow says. I don't know who that is, but good morning. Yeah, there's lots of fake news out there, that's for sure. So it's great to have you guys here. Hey, our goal on Pondering, of course, is to ponder, to think deep, to consider, to analyze, to not just swallow the sound bites whole, but rather to think things through, and do so, at least from the host's perspective, from an unabashedly, unashamedly, unapologetically Christian perspective. And that's what we do every weekday, 7:30 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do it on the live stream here on the Pondering Radio Facebook page, which, as you guys know, you can type into and comment anytime. You can also email ponderingradio@gmail.com 24/7, 365. You can post on the Pondering Radio page 24/7, 365, or you can call, leave a message at 860-500-7163, 860-500-7163. It is great to have you again, and I hope you had a good week, guys. Congratulations, you have survived a week of panic, with or without toilet paper. Hopefully, I still don't understand why, of all the things to buy out in the store, we're buying out toilet paper, but apparently we are. I've seen the pictures. My wife went last night to get some stuff, and she said, yeah, they're just, everything's cleaned out. Peanut butter, toilet paper, basic essentials of life. Oh, gosh. So, yeah, it is Free for All Friday. The rules are, there are no rules. You can comment on anything, bring up anything, whatever you want. Feel free to do that in the live stream as we roll along. I thought Pastor Steve Cianci from our host church, Lifeway Church, posted just a really great guide, rule of thumb, thoughts for this whole coronavirus situation. You can read his comments in their entirety at the Lifeway Church Facebook page. I posted it on my personal page as well, Joel Rissinger, Facebook, and it's just good stuff. I think it might even be on our Lifeway Church website, which is lifewaych.com, lifewaych.com. And by the way, you can find out all about the church there if you'd like to, lifewaych.com. You can also call the church office, 860-436-9216, anytime you wish to find out more or ask questions. We have 2 services every Sunday, which we'd welcome you to in person. Yes, even still in person. We're doing the elbow handshake, I guess, coming in instead of hugging or high-fiving this week. But you're welcome to come 9:30 and 11:15 a.m., Sunday morning, and that's at 2172 Berlin Turnpike. 2172 Berlin Turnpike on Sunday. You can also watch the live stream of the message and some announcements and various other things, not the whole service, but a good chunk of it, at the Lifeway Church Facebook page. So I thought Pastor Steve's comments were good because it's basically, in brief, he said, don't panic, and rightly so. And this is not based on just wishful thinking or some kind of misguided faith. This is based on fact. And we would say here in this program, as I always do, that we want Christians not to check their brains at the door, but to think things through. We believe faith is based on fact. That's what Romans 10:17 in essence tells us. Faith comes from hearing the message. The message is heard by the word of Christ. When he speaks, you can believe him because he doesn't lie. The facts back him up. Throughout history, there have been many, many rational reasons to believe in the Christian faith. Primarily, one of the greatest proofs is the resurrection of Christ itself and all the witnesses and all the different events around that. So we want to encourage people to get the facts. So just as an example, and everything's closing. I mean, schools are closing. The NBA's canceled their season. The NHL's canceled the rest of their season. I guess they're still going to have the college basketball finals, but they're not going to let anybody in. They're just going to film it, have a court with empty stands, and they'll I guess video it or film it so people can watch it at home. Hey, it beats canceling it. I'll give them that. It's just, to me, it's way over the top. And I'm saying that not based on, again, wishful thinking, but based on, the facts. Someone has sent around, and I think some of you may have seen it, a letter from a supposed, I say supposed because I don't know, I don't think her name is attached to it, woman from Italy. It's been circulating on Facebook, for example, saying that the United States media has downplayed the impact of the virus, that it's much worse than what we think. And it's quite a long letter, and there's more to it. I'll get to her in a second. But I stopped right there and went, okay, wait a second. Time out. When has the United States media ever downplayed anything that would normally cause panic and fear? Because, let's face it, bad news sells. Fear sells. I wrote my way through my last 2 years of college and did some freelance work after that. And one of the reasons I didn't pursue journalism full-time for the rest of my career was because I did not want to be digging up dirty laundry all the time. People complain about some of the rags at the checkout line, in the supermarket, and all the crazy headlines and the negativity. And I've always said, well, stop buying it, and they'll stop printing it. The reason they sell that, the reason they write that, the reason they focus that way is because bad news sells, right? So the idea that the MSNBCs of the world, the CNNs of the world, the ABC, CBSs of the world would downplay the impact of the virus is a little ridiculous, just to start with. Okay, then she goes on, again, supposedly giving us the eyewitness account from Italy that the ICUs are full, and that's why people are dying left, right, and center, and it's just mass panic, and it's much worse because everybody needs to go to the ICU, and if the ICU is full, then people die. Okay, well, let's stop for a second. I did a little homework. I didn't go deep, but I scanned a few articles and looked at the New York Post article about why Italy's death toll is higher and why the impact of the virus has been more extreme in Italy than other countries so far. And there are a couple of facts they pointed out that I thought made perfect sense. First of all, the number of cases were somewhere around 1,000, 1,200, maybe 1,300 at the time of the article. The death rate was 5%. Now, 5% isn't, not a huge percentage, but it's definitely higher than the average. The average in the world right now for corona deaths is about 3.5%, 3 to 3.5%. So Italy's percentage is higher for sure. This woman said is because the ICUs are full and they can't care for everybody. Well, I read another article from a woman in California who, I take that back, I think she was Washington State, who had survived corona. She's better now. And, her words were, don't panic. She treated herself with over-the-counter medication for the flu, and she's fine now. So the idea that everybody has to go to the ICU, that was another flag for me because I didn't think that was true. I'd heard that wasn't true, and this other article, which is from a pretty credible source, indicated for this woman that wasn't the case. She didn't go to the ICU at all. Third fact, and perhaps this was the biggest one of all that just, took the rest of that article and blew it out of the sky for me, was Italy's population is very skewed toward the elderly. In other words, about 23% of their population is over 65. Just to give you a comparison, here in the U.S., it's about 16%. So a much higher percentage of people in Italy are elderly than other parts of the world. Since this thing has a bigger impact on the elderly and those with what we would call comorbid, conditions, in other words, other health problems, whatever. Most of the people in Italy that have died, for example, are over 80, and they have a higher percentage of elderly seniors than other parts of the world. It makes total sense to recognize that Italy's going to have a higher percentage in terms of death toll than other countries when it comes to corona or the flu or anything else for that matter. So be careful with what you read and how you respond to it and what you pass on. I don't even think the letter was signed, which also makes me wary. Why not? What are you afraid of, kind of thing. So, these things get circulated and people forward it. No, the media's underselling and the ICUs in Italy are full and people are not. Now, listen, maybe this is a legitimate letter from a legitimate woman who's legitimately seen this in her little town, and that may be true. The little hospital where I was born in Warsaw, New York, it serves a small population. It's not a big institution. I could see its ICU getting full, and in the case of maybe an outbreak of something, the flu, corona, or anything else for that matter. And if I saw that and I saw people dying, I might write such a thing or be tempted to. I get it. But to suggest that this is normative, this is how corona functions throughout the rest of Italy, throughout the rest of the world, so therefore United States, be careful, watch out, you're all going to die, kind of thing. That's just hype and paranoia and panic causing. And it really isn't necessary. Not only is it unnecessary, it's not helpful. It's hurtful. It scares people, causes people to do irrational things like go buy thousands of rolls of toilet paper. I don't know. Somebody told me that the reason toilet paper is selling out is because initially everyone was told that this affected the bowels and the stomach. It was like a stomach flu. I never heard that, but maybe that's true. I don't know. Someone else told me it's because people were making their own masks, and they're using toilet paper to breathe through. I have that. I have a hard time imagining that, too, because toilet paper wouldn't last long with the moisture in your breath and whatnot. I don't know. But anyway, that is the thing. Everybody's buying out. So, anyhow. So, guys, that's my thought. Don't panic. That's the short version. Take precautions. Wash your hands. Don't get face-to-face with sick people. If you're not feeling well, stay home. These are basic, common-sense things we can all do and should do, but I don't think you need to go buy 1,000 rolls of toilet paper and dig a bunker in your backyard. I don't. I think we're going to be okay. So what's on your mind? I'm sure that's a big part of what people have been talking about, thinking about. What else is on your mind? Love to know. Love to hear from you. Inquiring minds want to know. So it's Free for All Friday. I'd love to hear any questions, comments, thoughts you have, Bible verses you want me to dive into, explain, whatever, or pretend to explain. If I can, I'll fake it. Just kidding. Just kidding. Have at it. Hit me with your best shot there, ponderers. You can type into the live stream, as I said. If you can't think of anything now, you want to do it posthumously once the program's over, you can jump onto the page and post on the Pondering Radio Facebook page. You can call 860-500-7163, 860-500-7163, or you can email ponderingradio@gmail.com, ponderingradio@gmail.com. All right, while you're pondering what to type, what to propose or bring up here, I do want to answer one question that's come up. We are still having services. Yes, we have not canceled services. A lot of things are shutting down. My work is being affected. And this I do agree with to a large degree. The nursing homes, many of the nursing facilities I go to as a chaplain, are now shutting their doors except to essential visitors, medically essential. So in other words, nurses, doctors, they can come in. Everybody else, we can't come in. So I'm doing a lot of phone calls and work from home because I can't. There are a number of places I just can't go to, can't visit for the time being. Schools are shutting down, and we've talked about that. Newington schools are closed, I guess effective immediately from what I understand, right here at home. So, that's happening. But really, again, while I would agree with being careful for the elderly, like the nursing homes, I think that's a smart move. Hey, good morning, Neil. Great to have you aboard. Well, I agree with that, and I think that makes total sense. Schools? I don't know. Every sporting event? The St. Patrick's Day Parade, for heaven's sakes? Really? I mean, first of all, if you're going to catch the virus standing outside at a parade with a crowd of people, then God help us, because we're all going to get corona. Because unless you stay buried in your house and no one ever comes to your home, which means you would never have food, you wouldn't even peapod or have anything delivered, because somebody might show up that's a carrier and you wouldn't know. Or someone who packaged your food had it and it survived on the surface of a jar of Jell-O or something. I don't think you buy Jell-O in jars, but anyway, work with me. You're going to get it, right? So I don't know. Canceling the St. Patrick's Parade, some of these things are just over the top. And for that reason, we're not canceling church services on Sunday. We will have the 2 services, as per usual. Someone wondered if we were going to cancel the baptism. No, we're not canceling the baptism. We think the chances of someone with corona getting into the tank, being dunked whoosh whoosh in and out and prayed for, and having the virus hang there so someone else can get in the tank and get it, are probably like my chances of becoming the Pope as a non-Catholic. Not very good. I mean, we could play woulda, coulda, shoulda. Could it happen? I suppose. I don't even know if corona survives in water. Maybe it does. The water probably is going to have some, chlorine in it. Does it survive in chlorine? Probably not. But again, we're not canceling. So in case anybody wonders. Okay, let's see what we got. Susie's posted here. It's hospice. Are they afraid they're going to get sick? Well, yeah, I know. But it's not just, when we go to a nursing home, not everybody's in hospice, right? Or a rehab center where someone's in for physical rehab with their, for joint pain or something. They're not in hospice. So it's not just hospice workers who are affected. But, yeah, if they were all hospice patients, you're right, Susie. Why would we? They wouldn't care, and we wouldn't care. It wouldn't matter. Jerry, most churches of any size out here in California, more than 100 people or more, are having online church only this weekend. Yeah, I know. And listen, I want to temper one thing I said. If the state mandated that any crowds over 200 or crowds over 100 or whatever number we're using, I know there have been different numbers thrown around too, I've heard. But if they said that, and we want to cancel all events in the state with crowds of over 100 people, we would cancel. We'd go to online only. But they haven't said that, and I don't see personally much benefit in that because of how the virus spreads, and because of the fact that the only way to truly avoid that, if it's that fluid where it flies through the air, lives on surfaces for days. The only way to truly avoid it would be to dig a hole and hide for 6 months or more in your backyard. Or go to Africa, which is what I'm trying to do in April, where there hasn't been any corona yet, I don't think. Most African countries haven't been affected yet. You might pray for that, too, if you think of it, guys. We're a little concerned because there's been some rumors that South Africa may ban flights. Well, if that's true, we're in trouble because we have to fly through South Africa. Johannesburg is the main hub in order to get to Zambia. So, at least with the South African Airlines that we're using. So we're a little concerned. We're checking it out. We haven't gotten an answer one way or the other. Been some phone calls around from here to Zambia and down in Florida. One of the pastors involved down there, and we haven't really nailed it down yet. But obviously, if South Africa bans any incoming flights, whatever, we're not going to be able to go. At least not with the plans we made. We'd have to figure out a way to get a refund and try to rebook flights. And we'll see what happens. But anyway, I digress. Any other thoughts, comments, topics we haven't gotten into, verses, difficult theological questions that you've always wondered about? What was the one I got asked yesterday? Why the Jehovah's Witnesses teach that Jesus was crucified like this instead of like this? Why was it a pole, not a cross? And what's interesting, Jerry says there was a directive from the governor out there about size. Yeah. Why did the Jehovah's Witnesses say that? Well, there's a couple answers. One is there is some evidence that it may have been more like a pole than a cross. I will grant that, because sometimes it was done that way in certain cultures. Also, the Bible talks about being cursed if you're hung on a tree, and so the argument is it was more of a tree than a cross. But the real reason the Jehovah's Witnesses push that is because they typically are sort of anti-Christian, anti-evangelical Christian. They don't believe Jesus was fully God. And there's always this temptation to look for a way to stand out, to be unique, to be different. They've got their own version of the Bible. They don't do Christmas and Easter. There's a holiday sentiment there. And so anything that's different than Christianity, they will push and promote. And I think that's the real reason why that is taught that way in their circles. So that was a question that came up last night, kind of out of the blue. Leanne says, 6 coronavirus cases in Connecticut with no deaths, and we shut down the state. Yeah, I know. But 3 people died of the flu last week, bringing the Connecticut total to 68, and there's crickets. Yeah, amen. That's exactly right. That's why we shouldn't be panicking, and we need to be wise as serpents. Yeah, we don't run around exposing ourselves unwittingly. We make sure we cover our mouth when we cough. We use, we wash our hands. We use disinfectant, whatever. But canceling everything? I don't think so. Jim says, if you could see the area of the Jordan River where Jesus got baptized, bacteria should not be a concern. That's right, Jim. I know. I mean, I know. It's crazy. Jerry says, Worldwide Church taught that too, about the cross. Yeah, you're right about that, I think. It depended on who the pastor was, but I think overall, officially, I think you're right about the pole versus the cross. And at the end of the day, I mean, so the argument that JW's used, and I guess W Worldwide would have too, was that, the cross is a pagan symbol, and it had roots in fertility worship and so forth, and that may be true, but see that in essence gives it more credibility as the instrument to be used by Romans, who would have considered it a curse, would have considered it an insult, etc. So I think more evidence is out there to show it was a cross than a pole, but frankly it doesn't matter. He died for our sins, being hung on a tree, a pole, a block, a cross, a wood, and we do know the Romans would typically make their victims carry the crossbeam to be attached to the main beam when they would lift them. And if you weren't being hung on a cross, that would be ridiculous. And to think that the entire cross would have been carried by Jesus to Golgotha, or by Jesus and Joseph of Arimathea, would be kind of hard to imagine based on the size of it if it were attached as a cross. So again, there's more historical evidence to suggest the cross than a pole, but it really doesn't matter. All right. Jerry says, let's just throw out the fact that he died for a reason. Focus on a post or a cross. Exactly. It really doesn't matter, but I just think when it comes up, people need to realize there's an agenda for the Jehovah's Witnesses to be opposed to almost anything traditional Christianity believes and does. So you have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. You know what I mean? All right. What else, guys? What else? Hit me with your best shot. What do we got here? Oh, well, we got 2 minutes. Well, that's all right. I can take one more thing, if you have it, to toss out there before we wrap up for the week and dive into the weekend, where we will spend hours searching for a store that is not out of toilet paper. Because, listen, here's the thing, right? I mean, who needs food? As long as we have toilet paper. If you're not eating and drinking, you're not going to need toilet paper for much longer anyway. So I think probably that's the priority, the food and water. I'm just saying. All right. There's a name for the beam? Oh, I don't know, Jerry. That's a good one. I should know that probably. Somebody Google that. The beam, the cross beam you're talking about, right, Jerry? The one that would go horizontally instead of vertically? Yeah, I think you're right. Who's the Giant this Sunday at Lifeway? We're doing Running with the Giants as a as a series at Lifeway, and I do not know who Steve's covering this Sunday. He probably told me, and I forgot. So we did Gideon last week, and I think that's still posted if people want to watch it. But this week, I can't remember who it is, honestly. I'm sure he told me, but he doesn't promote it too much as to which giant. That's the one piece that's sort of an attraction. Who's it going to be this week? But I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying. I just can't remember. Sorry. I'm not speaking, so it's not fresh on my mind. I cleared my brain as of Sunday afternoon last week. So, hey, we're out of time. Listen, guys, thanks for joining us this week on Pondering. As always, please spread the word. Hey, if everybody stays home, nobody can go to work and do anything fun, we might as well ponder together. Hey, why not? Fred says it's Elisha. Okay, good. So Fred's on the inside. Fred knows all. Any questions about anything spiritual, theological, historical, rational, see Fred, okay? Because I don't know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, guys, hope you have an awesome weekend. We'll compare notes on Monday. In the meantime, as I always say, stay in the Word, keep praying, and do not check your brain at the door. Keep on pondering. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.